Welcome, and thanks for tuning in for our third episode of the Sitecore Water Cooler, the casual conversation podcast dedicated to covering all things related to Sitecore product updates, full site builds, suggestions and insights, getting the most out of your Sitecore investment, and more. I'm your host, Jon Price, Sitecore Practice Director and MVP at AmericanEagle.com. On the last episode of our Sitecore Water Cooler podcast, we covered the landscape of Sitecore commerce and the numerous solutions organizations have in front of them. To set the stage for today, we are going to cover the landscape of content, digital asset, and product information management. Similar to the commerce space, the content, product, and asset technology space is very crowded with numerous options. There is even a separate facet that marketing and content teams need to consider, which includes the day-to-day project management for how content is created, including budgeting, syndication to numerous channels, and the coordination between multiple teams. One of Sitecore's acquisitions over the past few years, Content Hub, previously Style Labs, is a best-in-class product to manage these areas for organizations. It is a platform-agnostic tool that can be utilized with any CMS, DXP, and third-party system. We are going to cover all the aspects of Sitecore's Content Hub today and what organizations should be considering. Today, I am rejoined at the water cooler by Josh Hover out of Tampa, Florida. Josh is a colleague of mine that currently oversees the PMO office for AmericanEagle.com's Sitecore team. Josh also has 10 years of Sitecore experience, including both development and project management roles. I am also joined by a newcomer to the Sitecore water cooler, Mohammed Syam, one of the elite and multi-year Sitecore MVP and major Sitecore community contributors. Mohammed is currently a Sitecore architect with AmericanEagle.com based in London. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thanks, John. Appreciate you having us on.
Thank you, John.
Great to have you guys. So, Content Hub is a very robust tool that both of you have had hands-on experience with, most lately implementing for one of the world's most prestigious brands in boutique and luxury consumer products. The audience today may not be only wondering what Sitecore Content Hub consists of, what tools it can replace. And my answer to that is it can consolidate the Hive 9s, Kapos, Workfronts into one platform. That is the advantage Sitecore Content Hub has, a fully built-in, all-in-one solution. Let's kick off our conversation today with you, Josh. What is Content Hub, and what does it consist of?
Hey, John. Yep. So Content Hub is really a document management system, or DAM, as we might reference it on today's call, podcast. And it offers really a unified platform for businesses to manage a lot of the stages within their content production. And what that means is it's really a home for all of the digital assets, your media, product data, and other content. It gives you that centralized location to then push it out to your other avenues. It really allows you to store your content in that centralized or distributed location to push it out to your channels, such as social, your CMS or CRM, and mobile apps. And it offers a lot of other features more than just your DAM. So the Content Hub experience really offers the DAM solution, PCM, MRM, and CMP. And I know that we're going to dive into a little bit of each of those offerings here throughout the podcast today, but I'll give a quick high level of what each of those are. So the DAM is really that simplified storage space for managing the digital assets. So that could be your PDFs or Word documents. It could also be your images, videos, etc. The MRM, which is really their tool that they created for project management and helping manage your project life cycle. You also have CMP, which is streamlining your content strategy and planning your content creation as well as the publication. PCM is really what helps stay on top of your product content and for your e-commerce and other apps that are downstream. And then the very last one is the W2P, which is the web to print. And that just generates custom printable product sheets, allowing to use that on any of your content areas.
That's a great run through, Josh. Yeah, I think the one main advantage of Content Hub is really kind of centralizing all your data and being able to distribute it out to multiple channels, right? And there's another aspect of Content Hub I want to touch on, right? And there's terms out there, Experience Edge, Content as a Service, they're newer developments from Sitecore Content Hub. And honestly, headless and decoupled development's a major topic right now. So Mohammed, I'm going to kick it over to you. Let's hone in on that next. Explain to us, what these headless options are with Content Hub, with Content as a Service and Experience Edge.
Sure. So Sitecore Experience Edge for Content Hub is a set of services for headless content delivery and is based on the Content as a Service model that focuses on managing content into feeds. These feeds mean that other applications can consume and use the content according to their particular needs. With Sitecore Experience Edge for Content Hub, we have a Jamstack and headless architecture. We have high performance, high scalability, faster speed for end users, reliability, and GraphQL content API. A little bit about what is content as a service approach or concept. As we know, with the increased usage of devices beyond computers, businesses want to display content everywhere. Content as a service helps achieve this by storing content and retrieving it through APIs with no attached front end. With Experience Edge for Content Hub becomes a content as a service solution. With content as a service solution, the data is created and stored in Content Hub. Then the data is pushed to the API or delivery platform, and the head or the front end is built by the sources consuming the data. There are a lot of advantages we get from content as a service, like your content is easy to publish to existing and emerging channels. The content is responsive and sensitive to the devices on which it's viewed. Also, updating the content is in one repository, so we have a single source of truth. And once it's updated across all the channels where it's used. Just one thing to mention that here we're talking about Sitecore Experience Edge for Content Hub. We have another offering like Sitecore Experience Edge for Experience Management, which is achievable through the Headless SDKs, JSS, and ASP.NET Core. That's pretty much like a high level overview of these two concepts.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Walking through the development options are great. I'm sure the developers on the phone greatly appreciate that. But I think that's also a good segue to talk in a bit more detail about the products that it can expose in that headless fashion through those few development options. So Content Hub has specifically house enterprise and shared content, right? So Josh, I'm going to kick this over to you. Let's talk in more detail about DAM and PCM, what they truly are and how they can be used for storing this content.
Sure, John. Yeah, and I think that it's important to call out really quickly that each of these products could be leveraged individually, and you don't have to leverage all of them together. You can pick and choose which one of these offerings that you want to leverage. As I dive into DAM, I can talk a little bit more about that. And, really it's that centralized location where you get to store and manage all of your digital assets. And having that centralized area really allows you to easily distribute that across your networks. There are a lot of really neat tools that you can leverage. And, honestly, I think the acquisition really makes a lot of sense for Sitecore, because with Sitecore now having access to the DAM, it'll allow the Sitecore experience users to manage all of their digital assets. That also is where PCM comes into play, because you can also manage your content and Content Hub as well through the PCM offering, which is really neat, because then you're managing that content in a single place and then distributing it across your network so that you don't have that duplicated data across various channels and then needing to help update that content. It would just be in that single place. So really quickly, the DAM also has a lot of other really neat features, like being able to leverage artificial intelligence. So you could automate things like content tagging and image sourcing for reuse. It also has a lot of really neat features like being able to set asset expiration. And one of the latest projects that we did with Content Hub implementation was we were setting custom triggers to pull in data so that we could flag items that were assets that were expiring.
That's a great overview. And for the audience, I do want to clarify a few things, right? So DAM, D-A-M, Digital Asset Management. And again, that can be really any type of content, podcast, an MP4 file for a video, a PDF, an image. Pretty much anything you can imagine can really live inside the DAM. Even a piece of generic content like a news article, you can store kind of unstyled content for distribution. And thanks for hitting that right on the head, Josh. And then PCM is product content management, right? So in some other places, as far as terminology, that can be PIM, product information management. And that's honestly how Style Lab started out, is as a PIM. So companies can store these assets, these generic pieces of content, and their products as a PIM in both these products. So great run through, Josh. The other two aspects I wanted to touch on real quick, contribute more on the operational side for content and governance. And as Josh mentioned, which is a great thing to point out here, is you can purchase these products individually, right? With Sitecore, DAM and PCM are typically bundled together, right, for the asset management storage. And then the other two I want to talk about are CMP, content marketing production, and then marketing resource management. So if we think of DAM and PCM as the hubs for storing content, These other two aspects are MRM and CMP. And again, they can be consolidated for kind of an all-in-use platform, or you can purchase these individually. But first, marketing resource management as a part of Content Hub helps support and measure marketing operations. So let's think of that as project management for creating a campaign and measuring impact of budget and return on investment. MRM provides marketing teams in one platform to manage marketing calendars for ideas and operations. And there is an entire approval management system supporting these assets that can be stored as the DAM and PCM and your general marketing campaigns. And then as for CMP, a bit more broadly, it supports marketers and organizations from an overall content strategy. So MRM executes the detail, CMP helps the overall roadmap and vision for an organization. Especially when we talk about things like omni-channel and multi-channel, right? You might have some of these assets that you store in your DAM or your PCM that you want to push to your website, maybe to social, and maybe even to your print advertisements. So CMP helps identify the content needed for your marketing operations. It includes the gaps in content by your audience, by your region, by your channel, your campaign. What types of content do you need to create for a specific campaign? Or CMP simply helps strategize and plan what content needs to be created, helps you assign resources and even manages allocation, then helps the collaboration, review, and approving existing or new pieces of content to these channels. So kind of circling back to round this out is MRM and CMP help plan and manage your content in marketing operations, and DAM and PCM store and house the content. So it's a great platform, all in one, for that 360-degree view of your digital operational channels. And I mentioned a bit earlier, both of you have hands-on experience in regards to working with a major brand and boutique and luxury consumer products on Sitecore's Content Hub. So let's get a bit more specific on use cases. So Mohammed, I'm going to kick this one over to you. How does this client that we're describing specifically utilize Content Hub?
We worked on mainly the cloud development with both its sides like internal integration and external integration. With Content Hub, you have internal integration features like scripts, which is a Sitecore Content Hub that allow you to integrate custom scripts in your business logic, different types of script and different context properties. We also have actions, which are components that perform specific tasks, and these actions can either be manually triggered via the user interface or automatically via trigger or via APIs. There are like a lot of types of actions like action scripts, API call, Azure Event Hub, Service Bus, and many more. Also, we have one of the features of internal integration is triggers, which is where Sitecore Content Hub provide users with a trigger framework, which allows them to configure triggers via user interface, which is a set of actions that are automatically executed after specific events and under specific conditions. We made a lot of features and, let's say, implementations with internal integration. As example, we built a script to integrate the digital rights with the assets lifecycle. This is under the DAM module of Content Hub, which we keep monitoring the lifecycle and update the asset lifecycle over time. We did this using triggers, actions, and scripts, as well as we utilize the schedule job using Azure Functions. We also built a script to validate the asset file name to make sure we don't have a duplicate file name within specific categories. Also, we know that we have renditions feature within Content Hub DAM, so we built a script to refresh renditions in a scheduler with controlled asset limit and dynamic filters. We also did many other scripts to make sure related entities will be kept in sync by manipulating their metadata. Also, in the other part, we also worked with external integration. We know that Sitecore Content Hub offers a REST API Web Client SDK, recently Fluent SDK, and JavaScript SDK. We worked heavily with Web Client SDK. We can use Web Client SDK easily by adding source to the NuGet package source, and we can add the Web Client SDK NuGet package. Once we have that, we can use the different APIs that the SDK provides. Like we have entities operations, get, create, update, and delete. We have querying like searching through assets, creating jobs like the mass-edit job to refresh renditions as example. And we can also execute script using the Web Client SDK. What we did with Web Client SDK, we built an ASP.NET Core Web API project with Swagger UI to act as a middle layer between a third-party application and Content Hub. In this application, we use the Web Client SDK to pull content from Content Hub, like asset or different entities. And we also integrated our custom logic implementation. Also, we have used a feature called aggregates within Content Hub, which is a feature that you can use to enhance the performance, like minimize the number of calls that you do to Content Hub to retrieve content, which significantly improved the overall application performance. That's pretty much a good idea of what we did there.
I wanted to add a note as well. A lot of the work that we did was really to the triggers and scripts so we didn't have to modify any of the base logic of Content Hub so that it helps for an easier upgrade path, right?
Exactly. That's all available out of the box.
You mentioned refresh renditions. Can you go into that a little bit more in detail and just maybe give an overview of what a refresh rendition is?
Yes, of course. So renditions is, let's say, a feature that is available within Content Hub where you can build it through the media matrix in Content Hub, where you can have like assets with, let's say, as simple as different dimensions. Like you need to build a thumbnail. And this is usually like if your definition is there already, then any new assets will be like using the background jobs will have these renditions. But if you make any changes to the renditions definitions after the assets have been uploaded or added to them, then at this point you need to do something called manual refresh renditions. And there is some limitation on how many assets you can refresh its rendition at a single job. So if you have a large number of assets, you have to go with a custom approach, like by building a script, as example, to create like massive jobs to do the refresh renditions for you.
One quick thing I want to point out, and you both are alluding to it, is we may have not mentioned this at the beginning, but Content Hub is a SaaS solution, software as a service. So it is fully hosted for you, and it really is a configuration and low-code platform. So it sounds like everything you guys did for this project, you didn't have to rip open DLLs, didn't have to write a whole bunch of complex logic. You could really use everything that was kind of built into the platform and really extend it for this specific business. So it sounds like a very impressive project. I think that's a very important thing to mention here as well, as Content Hub comes with these products and really can be tailored for really any business or industry, which is a fantastic advantage. One other aspect I want to cover today, I'm sure the audience is wondering about, since it is called Sitecore Content Hub, but we haven't touched on this yet, but Content Hub is really meant to be a platform agnostic tool, right? You know, it is in the Sitecore technology stack. It obviously integrates very nicely with Sitecore, but it did not start out as a Sitecore product. So it really integrates nicely with pretty much any other DXP, CMS, or any other platform you can think of. So let's talk a little bit about connections and connectors here, guys, you know, specifically to third-party systems. So Mohammed, what connectors are available with Content Hub out of the box?
Yes, sure. So Sitecore Connect for Content Hub provide a couple of connectors that we can use. As example, we have the content marketing platform CMP module and the digital asset management module. The Sitecore CMP module in the Sitecore Connect for Content Hub enables you to work with content created in Sitecore Content Hub directly in Sitecore. Content is automatically created and updated when changes are made to the Sitecore Content Hub. Also in the DAM, just like as high overview, like Sitecore Connect for Content Hub connectors enable you to browse, search, and insert digital assets from Sitecore DAM directly from within Sitecore content or experience editing. So from the content editor or the experience editor, you can search and insert digital asset management from the DAM. If we dive a little bit deep into the CMP connector, you can consider it as the bridge between Sitecore CMS and the Sitecore Content Hub CMP. The Sitecore Connect for Sitecore CMP provide the web editors and digital marketers with the ability to work with content that has been created within Sitecore Content Hub, and the content will automatically created and updated when changes are made to Content Hub. We have a lot of features, like we can map Sitecore Content Hub fields to Sitecore fields. We can create language version based on the relationship. In the Sitecore Content Hub, we can update items automatically, set the publication date, and create content items in buckets. There are also like some other features that it could have been released with CMP 4.0, or it's in the roadmap. Full tolerance for sync, supported all simple field types, sync of tags into use-related entities. The content in CMP is written to target certain personas, knowing where and how content is being used, support of item versioning, and support item workflow from changes originated in CMP. If we want to talk a little bit of how it works, the connector needs 3 places to be configured: Azure Service Bus, Content Hub, and Sitecore Content Management, or the CMS. And whenever changes made in Content Hub, like entity creation, modification, deletion, using a trigger and action, changes will be messaged to the service bus where the app is listening, and the app will get the targeted entities from Content Hub and write it into Sitecore, and some data like where used message will be shared back to Content Hub. That's pretty much a good idea about CMP connector. As I mentioned, like Sitecore content for Sitecore DAM, the main goal of the Sitecore Connect for Sitecore DAM is to enable Sitecore users to browse, search, and insert media items from DAM directly within the Sitecore experience editing. Like the media types that are supported are images and videos, and other media types will be handled as a download link. We can browse or search the media items from the DAM, and when doing that, we have a lot of operations that we can like choose a file to insert on a page, preview, submit to approve assets, and also there is direct publish with different permissions here. That's pretty much like a good overview of the Sitecore Connect for Sitecore DAM modules.
As always, Mohammed, you impressed me with your very thorough and technical answers. I really appreciate that. The audience greatly appreciates that, so thanks for the run-through. So, Josh, that was a great overview of the Sitecore connector. Josh, what are some other connectors out there? What are some other systems we can integrate with Content Hub?
Content Hub offers a few other really great features like integration with Adobe Suite. So that would allow you to integrate with like InDesign and allow your creative team to seamlessly pull content right out of Content Hub and then directly into InDesign. They can edit their files and then check that right back into the DAM. So that really allows for a lot better governance on images and edits that the team would be making, and allows for a lot more of a seamless transition. So that's a really neat feature. And then they also have integrations with Salesforce. And so you could integrate with Salesforce through the DAM or PCM, and then you can leverage either your assets or for imagery or content and leverage that right within Salesforce Marketing Cloud. And so you can leverage those for things like marketing campaigns and anything that you're leveraging the marketing cloud. You can add things seamlessly to emails or landing pages, and that's all done through the custom content blocks right within Salesforce. So any place where you can insert a custom content block with your Salesforce implementation is exactly what you can pull in from any of your Content Hub applications or assets.
That's fantastic. I mean, those are a couple of great connectors right out of the box. And as we talked about a little bit earlier, Experience Edge, Content as a Service, definitely a couple other methods on how you can integrate with other platforms or even your custom front-end website. And there's numerous other ways where we can push data from Content Hub to other platforms. But that's probably a topic for another day. And obviously, guys, we could talk all day about the robust capabilities of Content Hub. I think there's some good information for a follow-up discussion on some more granular detail of Content Hub. I'm sure the audience has learned a great deal about what Content Hub has to offer, and I think this is a good ending point for today. So, gentlemen, I greatly appreciate your time today. Thanks for swinging by the Sitecore water cooler, and we hope to have you on again soon.
Great. Thanks so much, John.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Mohammed. Thanks again to Mohammed Syam and Josh Hover for joining us today on the Sitecore Water Cooler podcast, a casual conversation between colleagues and peers centered around all things Sitecore. I'm your host, Jon Price, and until the next time we meet at the water cooler, be sure to subscribe to the Sitecore Water Cooler podcast today, wherever you find your podcasts. This episode is brought to you by AmericanEagle.com Studios, with special thanks to executive producers Renee Nelson and Julia Klepich.